Toronto, how we doing?
Yeah!
I was very polite, very solid for a day 2, but I know y'all got a little bit more than that in you. Toronto, how we doing? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Victor Dandridge, lovingly called the hardest working man in comics, and it is my honor to moderate this panel. I'm going to have a great conversation coming up really swiftly, but I want to make sure that you guys know that you're going to be invited to ask some questions yourselves. We do have a microphone over here, and you are more than welcome to line up, ask some questions, be respectful, of course. Let's not ask for particular shout-outs or anything like that. And I will give you guys a warning that if we run out of time, those people that are still in line, I'm going to invite you to come up to the front of the stage area, and we're going to do a stage selfie with the guests. So if you don't get a chance to ask your question, that's going to be your prize. Is that cool with y'all?
That's pretty good.
Are y'all mulling it over? Is that what you're like? It's kind of cool. Okay. That's all right. Are you guys ready? Yeah. And I need y'all to make some noise and show some love for Miss Christina Chong, Ethan Peck, and Anson. Of course.
Thank you.
We have a special guest. Christina has a special guest with us, with her. Would you like to introduce?
This is Runa Iwa.
Make some noise, y'all.
Runa! Yay! They're all here for you. Yeah.
We charge double for selfies with Runa, okay? So just make sure to know. That's how it's going down. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
I love it. Have you been to Toronto before? Is this your first time?
First time, first day.
First time, first day. Okay. All right. Well, welcome.
That's a joke we film here.
I was gonna say, oh snap, you do, don't you?
I like that you're prepared.
Yeah, that was terrible. So I'm still jet lagged because I'm US based, so this is totally new for me. This is absolutely new for me.
So you last in Atlanta? No.
No. I think we're MegaCon or something like that.
Oh yeah, Orlando.
Way far down. But with all that being said, this is one of the greatest shows in terms of legacy to kind of be created, to have something that you're building upon and have characters that have such a huge fan base built into them. All of you get to kind of bring your own presentation to it, but how does the legacy of Star Trek as a whole kind of influence what you do?
Anson?
I like how they went to the captain. They went to the captain immediately. Like, yo.
I mean, literally everything we do. It informs everything.
Indeed.
It's shaped and guided us from the very beginning. And I mean, still to this day, we have to double check things the way they were said,
just to
the way
make
they were
sure.
done. Yeah.
I like that.
We have people. We have Star Trek consultants.
That's
the whole
brilliant.
job.
But you still get to do some wonderful things of your own. I mean, with your presentation of Pike and cooking is such a huge piece. And that was you wanting to do that, to kind of bring that character out, yes?
Sorta. It came up in a conversation between me and the showrunners, and I don't know. There's a side of the character I wanted to make clear that I'm not going to talk about now, but Akiva thought maybe dinners around the captain's table would be a good idea, and then I thought, well, what if you know every captain gets one request for his quarters, and I can't bring my horse on the ship. So what if he's into cooking and he wanted a kitchen, and so they built a kitchen.
I love that.
Yeah.
It humanizes Pike in a way that other presentations of the character don't quite do well, and it gives kind of like the centering piece to kind of create the relationship that he has with his closest, crew members. When you guys got to see that, was that something where you're like, I want to be a captain, so I can get something cool like that?
No, if I want something, I just ask for it, and generally I get it. So.
Fair. When a Noonian Singh asks for something, you give it.
You don't fight with Noonian Singh.
No, not at all. Speaking of, the legacy of Khan as something to kind of leach into and build on. When you were given this role, was that something that you were like super keen on building on, or were you that much of a fan to begin with?
I wasn't a fan before.
Fair.
So I had to learn through watching, Wrath of Khan and Seed Space, and but there's not actually much on Khan to watch.
True.
So, and it was clear that obviously La'an is completely different to Khan. So I didn't really base my character on him at all. Sorry.
No, that's not a bad thing. No, 'cause
I mean, obviously she's very military-like,
Right.
and I guess she has that in common with him. But other than that,
right, but there's like a whole like history that
Yeah.
you have to kind of incorporate of Khan's effect on humanity and why you have to keep your identity so much of a secret.
yeah, of course, yeah. But that's the script, yeah. So,
Fair.
yeah.
I'll tell you what is cool is like seeing your ideas pop up on Memory Alpha.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
See something gets annotated out there that is now canon that came up in conversation.
That's
really
wonderful.
cool.
That's wonderful. Ethan, your portrayal of Spock, that's a huge role, super iconic. To step into that one, what do you want to do with him at every turn that makes him yours versus the late great Leonard Nimoy's?
I mean, not screwed up.
You've done phenomenally at that part. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
I appreciate that. I mean, really from the beginning, it was just how can from when I started, I'm just trying to do the best Spock that I can. That sounds really obvious, but it's going to be impossible to separate the actor, I think, from the performance, especially with this sort of role, because it's so. I have to paint by numbers in many ways, and I'm who I am, and who I am is just now a part of it. That's so dumbly put, but I think kind of the best way that I can put
No,
it.
of course.
Yeah.
I dig that.
So I'm just trying to, when I prepare my scenes, I always have Nimoy's voice sort of resounding in my head, and I kind of check in with how he might say it. There's certain times where I have to check, in with that voice.
I appreciate that.
Still, yeah.
I think you all appreciate that too, right? Yeah. Of course. I think one of the things that legacy-wise that Star Trek is known for is kind of the creation of science fiction that leads into science fact. Things that are technologically advanced and things that we wish we had. What is something that you guys have experienced on the show that you wish you had every day right now?
The ability to beam from one place to another.
Okay,
question.
Okay. No traffic.
Sometimes I'm like, beam me out right now. I say it on set all the time. I said it last night.
I think like the nanobots that do my hair, because I don't like grooming myself at all. That's why I'm wearing the hat.
That's genius. That's actually genius. I love the hair part. I was not prepared for that one at all. When it comes to this series, Star Trek always had like a beat on kind of talking about geopolitical things, very socially, conscious of the time. Now we're in a space where the social commentary is about self-identity, things like that. Do those become, key pieces of your portrayals of characters where you're looking at the idea of identifying who you are and portraying that for the masses?
Not for me.
Okay.
I try to have an experience that's been put down on the page for me.
Okay.
So to think of how it's to be received or to think of it more objectively externally, I think takes from my own performance and portrayal. So I'm never thinking from the outside.
Yeah, I agree, and that's more about it's leaving up to the audience to perceive it how how you see it as well, and make your own commentary about it.
I like that.
I mean, yeah. I do personalize my work
Right.
in ways that I don't share outside of the scene work. But you have to make it personal for yourself. But I don't go into it to put Anson's imprimatur on it.
No, that makes sense. You're allowing us to see what we see, but what you do is the character.
Authentic to the character,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Or the imaginative work that you have to do in order to bring parts of yourself into a place that are active rather than interpretive. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you guys have to kind of keep yourself away from any fan responses to your characterization so that you can keep that identity pure? Or do you just kind of go, hey, that's cool, that's what you got, I'm still going to keep doing what I do?
Yeah, you have to do what you think is the right thing to do, right? And what honors the show, what honors the specific script. And then after that, it's out of your hands, you know?
When it comes to your individual characterizations, this being a spin-off series from Discovery, what was so important to you to kind of make this a standalone show of its own merit versus then someone looking at, oh, it's a secret or sequel style piece? What was that you wanted to do to say this Strange New Worlds is ours and it stands alone beyond anything else that has ever happened?
I didn't think we had to work too hard at that. We're blessed with two showrunners who have an incredibly large sets of brass cojones, and believe that Star Trek is established enough as a institution that it can be a lot of different things. It has become strong enough that it is malleable to an extent that maybe we've never realized before, and so we do want to be the show that's pushing in that way. But I don't think that because of their work, I don't think that we had to be too concerned with that.
That's fantastic. And it does kind of showcase, again, the statement of the crew and how well everyone functions when everyone is doing their thing correctly. When you have great writing like that, it works perfectly for you guys to be able to come in and do your part for this whole presentation.
It helps to have a writer that the network is afraid of.
That's gangster. Sometimes you gotta have that, right? That's incredible. This show goes back to more of an episodic style of storytelling, which means a lot of different stories, a lot of different characterizations, and not necessarily picking up where exactly you were from week to week to week. Is that something that's a little bit more fun for you to play with?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, for those of you who've seen season 2, the musical and the fantasy episode,
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
those, and especially I think
Was the musical your idea?
well, kind of, not, well, I was pushing for it from season 1. No, I mean, I did push for it from season 1, because it just made sense. Sally is a Grammy winner, we heard Rebecca singing Short Trek, I sing, I was like, I'm sure Ethan's got a good voice.
The mellifluous voiced man to my right.
And so yeah, it worked, and I told you, if I want something, I get it, so. Yeah, and it's just, especially I think for you, having different episodes too, because obviously Spock is limited in what he can express.
Yeah, for sure. You can kind of hit tones, places, adventures that would be so difficult to reach if you were in a serialized form of storytelling. And so to be able to jump around really gives us a lot of creative freedom, I think, on every level of the production. From set design to the writing, directing, acting,
Costume.
So I think it really just is unbridled creatively in that way, which is wonderful. Do you have something to say?
Microphone almost got licked right there. That was beautiful. Anson, did you want to add to that?
Just what I've said it a lot in the past. I think Star Trek just needs to have room for the big idea of the week to be the star. And when you're working in a serialized fashion, then there's nothing wrong with that. I think Discovery wanted to do that, and they did very well with it. But I think if you want to have these big idea episodes, you kind of have to clear the palette every week in order to have room for that. And so that's something, another thing that I think the writers have done really well is balance that with having longer arcs.
That's well said, very well said. With the strikes kind of slowing things down, have you guys had a chance to really kind of get your bearings back to get back into production, or do we have to wait even longer?
Oh, we've been in it since December, my friend.
Okay.
We came off set at 2 o'clock this morning.
Come on, thank you. This is why you are our heroes. Like, the fact that y'all did that kind of work and you came out here to be with us, that's tremendous. Like, that's sincerely.
This is really fun. I mean, I really enjoy coming and meeting everyone, so.
That's amazing.
Thank you for coming.
Of course. I'm going to open things up for you guys to ask some questions. My final one, of the seasons that we've gotten to see so far, do you particularly have a favorite episode that you always recommend to anyone that's like, oh, I want to get into the show and I haven't seen it yet. Do you have an episode that you recommend that they get to as your pinnacle favorite of the series so far?
It's really hard. There's so many. I mean,
True.
I would say for classic Trekness, episode 4 of season 1. The submarine
Memento
episode.
Mori.
That's a
Memento
good one.
Mori. I would say Subspace Rhapsody, just for the
Craziness.
of it all, you know.
The fantasy episode for even more craziness. And fantasy episode, if you've got children and you want to get them into the show, episode 8 of season 1 would be a good starting point, and she's in that as well. So
I liked Charades. That came out really well. It was fun.
Yeah.
We get to do comedy on the show.
Of course.
I mean, episode 1 of season 1. I think
True,
it's
yeah.
such a great entry point.
Yeah.
It's a banger.
That's awesome. I love that. Let's open it up to your fans here. Hello, how are we doing today?
Hello. First of all, I just want to say, I want to shower so much praise upon the musical episode. You all were absolutely amazing.
Make that noise, y'all.
thank you.
And I just want to start saying that Lon is my favorite character in the show.
Sorry, guys.
And I think one of the reasons might be that Spock and Pike's destinies have already been written. And so my question is actually to Christina, what destiny would you like La'an to have in the universe? And also to that effect, as an actor, what kind of things would you want to do through La'an, like more romance, drama, action, etc.?
Okay, so that's a really good question. So, listen, I've had a lot of people come up to me today and say, oh, we're really worried your character's going to die. And I was like, really? Do you guys know something I don't? But I think I would love to... Hang on, I just need to check what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you answer that question?
I would love somehow for La'an to have some kind of superpower that turns her evil, and that becomes her downfall, and then she dies. But not until the very last episode of the very last season.
Is it a heroic death?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
I'll
alright.
give you a really, really good death. Don't worry about it.
Hello.
Hi
You
guys.
don't want your own spin-off? I highly recommend it, but
I mean, yeah, only if Rena can be my sidekick.
Hello.
Hi guys. So since you guys do film in Toronto, my question is, what is your favorite thing about Toronto, or what is your favorite thing to do in Toronto?
I love Toronto. During the summer, the public spaces are so beautified. The landscaping is so wonderful. I mean, it's not summer now, so but soon to be. And I mean, I just really appreciate that. I'm from Los Angeles, so we're really spoiled with good weather, and there's such a vivid sort of experience of the summer I find in locations like this where there's a real winter. And especially in Toronto, I'm also like such a city slicker, so to be in urban greenery, I really enjoy so much. So High Park and Trinity Bellwoods are sort of places I frequent.
yeah, I mean, I have a 2-year-old son. I don't get out much. The dog parks are great. The public facilities, we take our daughter to the public. It's not, you don't call it a Y here, I don't know what you call it, but is it the one in Trinity Bellwoods has the indoor pool and everything. And it's like it's a public facility. I'm like, it's like architectural, and I'm like, whoa, like you go to a public facility in the States and like expecting to see dead bodies.
Don't tell them. It's our secret.
I mean, are you waiting for an answer from me? I mean, listen, I don't really go out much either. And also the last 2 seasons, we weren't really allowed to go out. But I'm starting to discover Toronto. The music scene is very cool. Getting into more of that. Yeah.
We went out for my birthday.
Oh yeah, we went out for his birthday. We went out, and I was almost one of the last ones standing.
Access Club used to be called Mob Club.
The mod club. We went there out dancing, and then you guys went to a concert, the Opera House, right?
House.
Opera House.
My wife took me to for my birthday a Blue Blood Steakhouse. That place is amazing. It's in this old mansion, man. It's the guy who built the first power grid, I think, for Toronto and owned it. So it's just this massive
Oh.
thing. Yeah, it's incredible.
It's awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. I was wondering if you guys could share what your experience was like preparing for the musical episode.
Shock.
Horror.
Well,
No.
I gotta say, we were supported by an incredible production team here in Toronto. They are very good at what they do, and so I never sensed a bottleneck, crunch time, high pressure situation because we started so early.
Did we?
Yeah, we started really early.
Well, we started about 3 weeks, I think, before. We got we got our
And
songs 3 weeks before.
Tom Polcha, who's the music supervisor for all of CBS, came in and started working with us quite early, and we were doing vocal coaching quite early, and then we recorded the whole album before we started shooting, because you have to. So I never felt really. In fact, there was a lot of pressure alleviated on the day because some scenes didn't have to have sound at all because that had already been done.
That's true, yeah. I mean, so Tom Polchi, what's his position on the show?
Musical director.
He's the musical director for all of CBS, for all of Paramount Global.
So he brought, I'm sure this was the same for each of you, but there was a day where I was on set and I came into a trailer and he said, hey, let's sing. And I was like, okay. He's like, what do you like to sing? And I mentioned some songs that I secretly sing along to.
Which are?
And we sang those songs. I think I referenced Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit because it's sort of in that moment. And oh my gosh, what's his name? I don't remember. What was yours like with Tom? So much thinking about that.
Yeah, no, I did mine over Zoom with him and I just sang Summertime. And then we sung it in different keys to see what my range was. And and then from there he took away all the information and wrote the song specifically for our voices, which was incredible to have a song written for you.
But with me, he was like, I'm sensing you can do John Mellencamp, right? And I was like, yes, yes, that's it, right? And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna rock this, and then I get the score, and it's a full Broadway musical score.
Yeah, to be honest, I did want this whole jazz number and a dance frickin' thing with glitter and and the whole sequin shebang. And I got my song and I was like, oh.
You rock that song.
I know, but it was a ballad. I wanted something more dancey, but I mean, it was great. It was great.
I feel like a Strange New Worlds karaoke needs to happen at some point.
Well, there is. If you notice, there's that raised platform area in the bar with a screen behind it.
That's all I'm saying.
I keep saying that to the writers. I'm like, we need to have a karaoke.
Yes.
Pike says we do.
Oh man.
Hello. Thank you.
Hi. I just want to say, I'm a big fan of Star Trek, for the last 40 years, and I think the current Strange New World is my current favorite show of Star Trek. And one of the things that always attracted me to Star Trek was the fact that it always had a multicultural cast showing different cultures and races. So, and on a personal note, I am half Asian, and my question was for Christina about being mixed race. I'm not sure if you know this, but people talk about how you're a mixed race. They have groups on the internet.
A group's on what, sorry?
On the internet devoted to your ethnic background.
Oh.
That's not weird at all, is it?
All of us halvesies and mixies are super excited.
Sorry, I didn't hear that bit. What?
Sorry, all of you you. All the people are talking about how they're so excited to see someone mixed race on television. And could you tell us anything about your experiences being mixed race in the entertainment world and Star Trek?
Oh, mixed race within the Star Trek world, or what brought me to that?
I guess both.
So for me, like growing up, I was always bullied as a kid for being Chinese, part Chinese. So that brought a lot of shame to me because I felt embarrassed. Like my dad would come to pick me up at school, and I knew that the bullying would be really bad the next day. So it was always, until I kind of came into my later teens, it was always something that I tried to push away and shun because it hurt, you know? But then going into the acting industry, at the beginning it was like people didn't know where to put me. They were like, is she white? Is she Asian? But she doesn't look Asian enough. And they weren't casting diverse, especially in the UK as well. It was different. A lot of my roles came from America to begin my career because they're much more forward-thinking when it comes to diversity. And so for a long while I struggled. And then when I met an agent who was like, no, you're just you. We're selling you, promoting you as you and your energy. Doesn't matter what the role is and what the name of the role is. And he would force casting directors to rethink. He'd be like, well, yes, this character is called Sarah Whitney, but why can't she be mixed race? And they were like, yeah, of course, yeah, let's see her. And then once he started doing that, he believed in me, I started to believe in myself more, and that's how my career kind of started. And being able to be that in Strange New Worlds for other people to look up at, because I didn't really have anyone to look up to as a kid. Yes, there were Chinese actors out there, but I didn't feel like I fully belonged in that category either. So, I remember there was this little girl, I can't remember what convention it was, but there was a little girl and her father, and I think they'd adopted her, and she was part Thai and Eastern European. And she came up to me and she'd seen the fairy tale episode, and he was like, I just want to say, that you've made her, at school she felt like she didn't fit in, and seeing you on TV's made her feel more confident about who she is, as a little girl, and that made me cry. And the moment I was like, no, don't tell me that. But yeah, like those moments are so special and make this job even more incredible.
Make some noise for that, y'all, please.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, as a half Chinese person myself, it's really awesome to see that representation out there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi there. My name is Kalina. It's really nice to meet all of you. My question is for Ethan. I think it's pretty clear, I think everybody can agree that of all the Spocks, you're probably, I guess I'd call you Buff Spock, for sure. Excellent, respect, and thank you. I'm somebody who's really into healthy living and working out and all that kind of stuff, so I'd like to know a little bit about what's your physical routine. What do you do? What protein powder are you eating? What's going on?
I love this question so much. I'm going to give you too much information.
Listen, please.
Sorry everybody. I feel like I have like gym conversations with some people, and other people are like, "Oh, shut up."
I love this conversation.
I power lift, like exclusively, so I squat, overhead press, bench press, deadlift. I work in a linear progression, which means you add weight steadily over time. And I just eat like healthfully. I do some intermittent fasting. I don't drink caffeine, and I try to stay away from sweets. But I'm all about like being strong and getting as strong as I can for as long as I can get strong. And then just be like a strong old guy. That's the plan. Strong old guy, here I come. Yeah. Thanks for your funny question. That's awesome.
That's the most logical answer too. You're like, no, it's like this. It's very linear. It's how we're doing it. It's so very vulgar. I love that. Hello.
Hi there, my name's Serena. My question is for Anson, but I want to say, Christina, your episode in Doctor Who is one of my favorites.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Ethan, I think you are one of the best best Spocks ever.
Really true,
But you're up there. And,
You're in the top 3.
and Anson, I watched Hell on Wheels a few times.
Yes.
I just wondered what it was like going from a Western show to a science fiction show.
Yeah, they're very different horses. They're different. We were talking about this the other day. They're different pressures. You know, in Hell on Wheels, that was pretty much all days exterior. This is pretty much all days interior. And that was doing an action adventure, you know, with living animals and trying to squeeze out an episode in 8 business days with too little money. And this, you know, Star Trek, the trick is you're basically trying to make an action adventure show in a series of little rooms and hallways. And that puts an enormous amount of pressure on the camera work. And so there are ways that you work in Hell on Wheels, and then there are ways you work in something like Star Trek that are just completely different.
And what was it like working with O'Brien?
Colm is so much fun. He's just chock full of old theater stories and production stories, and there's nobody I'd rather have a beer with than Colm Meaney.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Reporting for duty, sir.
Nice.
My question is, well, with one of my favorite episodes, Elysian Kingdom, the fairy tale episode, call back to the original series. And it looks like you guys had a lot of fun doing that. And God, I'm just wondering, one of you secretly is into Dungeons and Dragons. You have to be. It looks like you're having way too much fun.
Yeah.
I play Magic the Gathering, actually.
I do too.
Yeah, no, I
D&D, right?
grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I was actually dungeon mastering my own campaign in my late 30s, and then everybody got busy, and because it takes an enormous amount of time, and I miss it. It's fun. It's better than poker.
Well, Todd Stashwick on Picard always hosts a game.
Yeah, I don't know how he finds time.
2 captains together, D&D together, that's the dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
You're a player, I take it?
Yes, I am. Ever since high school.
Are you playing now?
Not currently. Can't find enough people.
Right. Yeah.
And also, Christina, your dog, the dress that was on your dog was adorable.
I'm just saying that's the problem. Like once you get to a certain age, nobody has time. Like it's really hard to put together a group of people that can give up an entire day to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Where everybody's working. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hi.
I wanted to ask what each of your dream roles has always been, if you've ever had one since you were little. But mainly for Christina, I wanted to ask if there is a musical dream role you've ever had that you've either gotten or have still wanted to always have.
Roxy in Chicago.
Ooh, fierce. Okay.
But I also want to do an original musical film.
Ethan, what about you?
I mean, I might have the dream role. I didn't know that this would ever be a possibility for me. This role, this character, and yeah, I mean, this. Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, Captain of the Enterprise is pretty hard to beat. I don't know. I got to play a dream role a while back. I get to play Solione in The Three Sisters. That was a dream role. There's a Jacobean play called The Changeling that has a role in it named The Flores that I would like to play. I'd like to play Iago at some point before I'm too old. I don't know. There's plenty.
To kind of piggyback that, Jeff Ward is also here today. He's an actor from One Piece. And he and I went to NYU together at Tisch. And I would love to be, he just directed a play in New York. I'm like touting his horn. But I would love to work with him someday. You know, working with friends that you've come up with would be such an amazing thing to do.
And he just directed, and I was just thinking to myself, actually, just a couple of days ago, that I would like to, I think the next thing I do in theater, I'd like to direct. I'm not sure I want to get up. Theater is a slog. It's a real slog.
Thank you so much. I hope I get to see you all in each one of those roles.
Absolutely. Thank you. Hello.
Hello, my name is Dr. Evo.
Hello, Doctor.
That's good.
My question is pertaining to that episode in season 2 where the Gorn take over that planet.
Which one? Season 2?
Season 2, yeah. How do I get some of those? And do they come with lasers attached to their heads?
Isn't Lorne Michaels Canadian? Am I making up he's Canadian?
Mike
Is there a town in Ontario where everybody sounds like that? I want to go there.
It's pretty well our schooling, yeah.
Is it Peterborough?
I think you're the Gorn specialist.
Yeah.
What was the question?
How do you get some Gorn?
How do we get some Gorn?
How do we get Dr. Evil some Gorn?
Well, you... Oh, if I wasn't so tired, I would come up with something really elaborate. But instead, I'm going to ask Ethan to.
Just call us up. We'll beam you some over.
We'll talk about it later. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And may the force be with you.
That was the most evil thing you could say, right? Oh my gosh. Hello.
My question is about Pike's cooking. I was wondering if it's somewhat related to or inspired by other Star Trek characters that have been really into cooking, like Riker or Sisko. And I was also wondering how much of the food is real versus prop, and do you get to eat it?
Okay, first question. No, it literally just came up in a conversation between myself and Henry and Akiva. And secondly, there's nothing more disgusting than prop food.
Prop bacon.
Some of it has to be real, and it sits there all day long. You know, and it starts to, you know, smell after a while. So a lot of it, most of it is real. Some of it is not. What's funny is when I'm preparing like a Vulcan meal, and they've clearly gone to the markets and tried to find the Asian markets and tried to find the most like foreign-looking, crazy. Like I'm so tired of seeing starfruit and dragon fruit. I'm like, dude, it's the 21st century. We've all seen a dragon fruit. It's not Vulcan. Paint an orange blue or something.
Good question. Thank you. Hello.
Hi. This is very hot.
Move it down.
Yeah, thanks.
There you go.
And now you broke it.
So I just started listening to the Well podcast, which is, I'm still in the 2019, there's a lot of room to go, but it's good. And ties into Star Trek because, of course, there was the two-part interview with Ethan, which talked about, I guess we'll call it a close escape. I don't want to ruin this for anybody. And then, Anson, later on, you had an episode, I've just gotten to that one, where you've talked about your own close escape.
What was that?
Prison cell, De
Go
Niro.
on. Oh, that. Oh, my goodness.
I told you, I'm still in the old stuff.
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay, but my question is, and Christina, I want to include you too, you're just not in that podcast. But the question is, given that at least two of you, and maybe all of you, have had some pretty scary, close escapes. And now you're in a show where, the lead character is experiencing something really horrifying, traumatic as well. I'm just wondering, what is that like to have that history? I've had a very close escape myself, and frankly, it's hard to even say that. I can't even imagine acting a close escape.
But yeah, I'm trying to think how to say this. Yeah, the question is it in some way traumatic, or is it like just, it's the job and you can separate these things, or what's that like?
So we're talking about like Close Escape, right? Death,
Yeah.
right? Because I haven't obviously watched the podcast. Listen, I mean, not obvious. I mean, maybe I should. I mean, I'll go home tonight and watch it. For me, in the work, because death, there's a physical death, you can have an emotional death, a death of a relationship. So for me, I use, it's not necessarily linear, so yes, the Gorn may be after me and there may be a fear of death, but I'll use whatever I'm going through in my life that feels like some kind of energetic death, so then it's not like I'm literally reliving anything, it's a what if this happened, so then it doesn't become traumatic or heavy in my personal life.
I'm not sure I understood the question. Are we
Basically,
reenacting?
you nearly got killed, and I'm wondering how that affects your acting when you have to do a scene or you're in a storyline that's about like serious injury or death.
It's great, because you know what it's felt like.
Yeah, I thank you for reminding me, because that is definitely something that I will reference next time. Because every time I think about what almost happened, I almost lost my career. I could have potentially lost my life. And every time I think back to that moment, I get really, really anxious. I'll share it with you real quick. So I was doing City by the Sea, and we were shooting in the police station up in Yonkers, and we're in the holding cell area, and the scene is I come in with De Niro and George DeZenza, and there's a guy in the cell, in the holding cell, who has fingered De Niro's son as a killer, and De Niro wants to hear him say it himself. So they open up the cell door, and he's still in the cell, and we're outside the cell. And the guy says it, and De Niro's supposed to like get in his face, right? So De Niro doesn't want to rehearse, and I am told by the first AD, okay. Oh no, I'm told by the cops working the cell door. When I get the cue, when you, because I'm in charge of telling them when to close the door. When you give me that cue and I push this button, make sure you are out of the way, because there's no stop button, right? And which makes sense for a prison, right? Not so much for a film set. And so I'm too young at this point to hear that, see that we're all wearing leather-soled shoes on a tiled floor, and the fact that we have not rehearsed. And so we roll camera, we go, and when the guy says the thing, De Niro turns into a panther. And he goes for this guy's throat, and I'm supposed to pull him back. So I'm just like instinctually, oh my God, I grab him, and I'm like, yeah, pull it, close it. And De Niro's still going. Like, he's still going after this guy, and I'm trying to get him out of the cell door, and then I slip. And I pull him out, and I barely get my arm out before the thing slams shut. And we all stopped, and nobody said a thing, but it was kind of like we all decided we're not going to say anything about this, but we're not going to do that again. And it taught me a very valuable lesson. The film set is a very dangerous place, and I tell this to younger actors all the time, you are in charge of your own safety. Nobody's going to do it for you. And if I could go back, and pull myself into a corner and say, look, this is a very dangerous situation. I just trusted that others knew what was going on, and they didn't. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. I apologize. Yes, please, make some noise for that. I apologize. We have hit our time, so everyone that's in line right now, you guys are going to be able to come up here to the stage, right in the front here. We're We're going to face this way. And guys, thank you so very much for your time, your talent, representing Toronto in the best way possible.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.